Okay, this is an update to the video, well, to the first part that I just recently showed to you for AMC theaters. Now, this update came out on the 17th, well, the 16th, according to this article that I'm reading here, which was a few days after the one that I recorded. Excuse me. So, apparently, according to the Hollywood Reporter, they said that AMC plans to raise $500 million in a private offering. So basically, it looks like they may have found a way to recoup the money that they need for right now in order for them not to have to completely file for bankruptcy. And they're hoping that the only way, well, really the only way this is going to work is the theaters would have to reopen by the end of June. Let me see if I'm looking at this correctly. It said that it would have to reopen by the end of June in order for it to actually work. So it says cash-strapped exhibitor AMC Entertainment on Thursday said it will raise $500 million in new debt to bolster its balance sheet liquidity. And what I also had read is that if this does work for them, they will have to basically pay all of this back by 2025, which I don't think will be a huge problem for them as long as the theaters begin to open up. So it looks like something might work for them, but of course I'm almost certain that some people, of course, will still not get their jobs back because of this, because the furloughs and probably the firings will definitely stay in place. This should come as no surprise to anybody. When I found out about it, I said I wasn't surprised. I was a little disappointed, but I wasn't surprised at the same time. So in case y'all haven't heard, AMC, the theater company, is most likely, and at this point they are, going to have no choice but to file Chapter 11 bankruptcy due to the loss and the major loss that they have taken due to this virus. I think they lost probably upwards to almost probably $1 billion in the last couple of weeks due to lack of sales of anything. Due to, no films coming out. They had to close their doors. They weren't making any money because, the other way that they make their money, of course, is through concessions. Of course, with nobody going, there's nothing there. The people who worked for the theaters, who knows if they'll get their jobs back as of right now, I think they're just under furlough. But with this filing of bankruptcy, they're probably not going to get their job back. Now, filing for bankruptcy does not mean that the company is going out of business or it's going away. Basically, what it is they are freezing their assets so they don't lose any more money. But they are probably going to have to start selling things off just to stay afloat in hopes that they can come back and recoup the money that they lost, which is going to be a lot of money to take back in. That's why many of them are banking that this virus does not last very long, so that can happen. Now, because of the results of this, a lot of films that were set to come out had to get pushed back. As you know, one of the things I love to do on my channel is movie reviews. And that's a way for two things. One, so y'all can see my face, because that's like the only time I ever show my face in any of my videos. And two, it's a form of entertainment for me to you that I don't display in my other commentaries, which are more serious in tone. Unless maybe it's the Petty Pendergrass production ones, of course. But with the movie reviews, it's slightly different. As you all know, I only did 2 movie reviews this year. That was Bad Boys for Life and Sonic the Hedgehog. One in January, one in February. The next movie I was planning to review was going to be A Quiet Place 2. That was supposed to come out on March the 20th. But it got pushed back to September, I believe, of this year. But that wasn't the only movie. As you all know, films in the summertime are supposed to be a huge money-making period for the film industry, or the movie theater industry, I should say. That's not going to happen this year. Every last movie that was supposed to come out for the summer got pushed back to the fall or late summer. So, for example, Black Widow was going to be the movie to kick off the summer movie slot. That was supposed to come out May 1st. That got pushed back to November. Then they were supposed to come out with, of course, Wonder Woman 1984. That was supposed to come out June 5th, but they pushed that back to August 14th, I believe. But to be honest, I think that might be cutting it close, and I don't even think everything is going to be back up and running by that time. And the new James Bond movie that was supposed to come out this week, I believe, this past weekend, I believe. But that's not going to happen now. And that actually got pushed back, I think, to come out like Thanksgiving weekend. So a lot of movies got pushed back. So they had to rearrange a lot of the schedules and everything like that. And because of this virus, and every movie pretty much that was supposed to come out in the summertime, all of them pretty much got pushed back. So anything that was supposed to come out this summer, whether it was June, July, even August, got pushed back to either a later date this year or sometime next year because of this. So it completely threw a lot of things out of rotation because of that. But one of the theaters I always go to was AMC. Why? Because it was close to where I lived. And if I wanted to go see something on a bigger screen, then I would go to the one that was slightly across the bridge. Like if I wanted to see it in IMAX format, because I was one of those, like, I guess you could say I had a membership, so I was able to see, what was it, like 3 movies a week for $20 a month, which wasn't bad. But through that particular membership, they put it on pause because I can't use it right now. So it's not like I'm getting billed for it. And that's how I was able to see so many movies. People was like, how was you able to see so many movies? And that's why. That was how. And I remember as far back as me being a kid, AMC was probably one of the first theaters I went to. AMC was probably one of the most recognizable movie theaters I think anybody could say. If you could ask anybody what movie theater they went to, they'll probably say AMC. Some people will say Regal, but I would think AMC was the more recognizable chain. I think it had the most screens out of any place in the establishment. And to learn that they're most likely going to have to file for bankruptcy, that's a huge deal right there. Because, if they have to end up filing for bankruptcy, all the other theaters that come behind it are probably going to be following right in their footsteps. Like if this one can't thrive through the Wuhan as it stands right now, the rest of them don't stand a chance. I'm just being completely honest. But I'm going to go ahead and read this article that's coming from the Hollywood Reporter, and it was posted on April 9th, 2020. It says, MKM Partners Eric Handler downgrades the stock to a sell, estimating its cash burn rate in a no-revenue environment is running at $155 million per month, which likely keeps AMC liquid until June or July. Wall Street analysts are seeing a Chapter 11 bankruptcy filing from cinema giant AMC Theaters as increasingly likely. MKM Partners analyst Eric Handler on Thursday downgraded his rating on shares of the exhibitor from neutral to sell, saying that bankruptcy appears likely. That followed Loop Capital analyst Alan Gold's Wednesday downgrade to a sell in a report that concluded, "We think bankruptcy is a distinct possibility, and at a minimum, the company will require a highly dilutive financing." Handler in his Thursday report explained, "Based on our view that theaters will be closed until at least August and our belief that AMC lacks the liquidity to stay afloat until that time, we expect the company will soon be faced with filing for bankruptcy. Further fueling our liquidity concerns is AMC's decision to stop paying rents to landlords effective April. AMC, in which Chinese conglomerate Dalian Wanda Group owns a majority voting stake, has been looking for various ways to reduce costs, furloughing all of its 600 corporate employees, including CEO Adam Aaron, in late March following the closure of all of its cinemas it had earlier already cut its dividend by 85%. Now, you know that's a big deal when even the CEO gets furloughed. And let me talk about that a little bit. Now you see why a lot of those CEOs in the last couple of months, especially like in February, started to jump ship. Like they would step down from those positions to maybe a chairman position. That's why they did not want to deal with what was about to come. And you see this one right here. This CEO got furloughed right along with everybody else. No job or position under the AMC umbrella was spared from this virus. None. That shows you how powerful and how abrasive this situation is. If the CEO can't even survive this. Sure, he has all the big bucks, but he still doesn't have a job. He has a title, but he doesn't have a job, just like all of the employees underneath him. Handler said, though, that even if AMC is able to tap government bailout funds, as management has signaled it plans to do, we believe the weight of its balance sheet will make for tough sledding, given the company's high leverage, thus making a reorganization inevitable. That comment was reference to a potential Chapter 11 bankruptcy filing, which leads companies, their lenders, and the court to develop a restructuring plan. Handler highlighted that AMC, which he called the exhibition company we view with the least financial flexibility, at the end of 2019 had $265 million of cash on hand and $332 million available on its credit lines for a total of nearly $600 million. We believe the company monthly cash burn rate in a no revenue environment is running at $135 million a month. Handler cut his fair value estimates for AMC stock from $7.50 to $1 and lowered his first quarter financial estimates. That's how you know that they were losing a lot of money. You see how much he had to lower his stock rate from $7.50 a share to $1, just in hopes that people would buy it. But the thing is, thanks to this virus, a lot of stocks plummeted, but nobody was buying any of them, no matter how low they were, because they knew they were not going to get any money out of it anytime soon. The stock market only works one way, and that's when it's moving upwards. And it has been in a decline for over a month. Nobody is touching any type of stock right now. That's why whenever I be saying, if you hear what I hear, when you hear those windows go up and people leaping out of them, that's what I'm talking about. When that stock market crashes like that, so does their money. And all of stuff they put into them, life savings, anything into those markets, gone. And at this point, they're not getting it back. Not anytime soon, anyway. He cut his adjusted earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, and amortization estimates to a loss of $13 million, compared with a year ago profit of $108 million. His revenue estimate went down to $931 million, reflecting a domestic box office decline of 26% as theaters have been shuttered since mid-March and a 20% decline internationally. You see how much money they lost just in this short amount of time? Them filing for bankruptcy is probably the best thing that they could do right now. Handler also cut his 2020 outlooks for AMC's adjusted EBITDA to a loss of $293 million, compared with a $771 million profit in 2019. Full-year revenue he expects to fall 44% to $3.05 billion. The revisions assume cinemas will remain closed until August. And see, what they're doing is they're hoping that they can open the theaters back up in August by that time, because what'll happen is if they do, one or two things is going to happen. One, it can be a good thing for them and it'll work, and people will go out there and they'll see the Wonder Woman movie, which they pushed back to that time, which would be the first time anyone's been in a theater since March. But the thing that can work against them is some people will ease their way back out into society after being in quarantine for so long because of the high threat behind this virus. So it can, like I said, it's a toss up. You don't know which way the wind is going to blow for them. They don't know. Now, this lets you know right here, if anything else, that if a big corporation, if a big business, a big conglomerate like AMC could fall after being around for so many years, and I'm not saying it's going to go away, but it's weak right now. If it could fall at this point, as big as the corporation is, and as long around as it has been for many years, small businesses don't stand a chance. What in hell whatsoever? Like I said, even the CEO was affected. Now, what some people have suggested is, why don't they go back to drive-in theaters? You can still do the social distancing thing. People can be in their cars. That can be a good, also, it could be a bad thing, depending on the situation. I remember when I used to have talks with my mother, and she was always telling me that she only went to a drive-in movie theater, I think, one time. And I was like, why? I said, you didn't like it? She said it was good, but it was in the summertime, and you had your windows down, and that was, she's from the South, so they had to deal with like those mosquitoes and stuff like that. She said them mosquitoes used to tear her arm and legs up back in the day because of that. She said that was the only time I went. She's like, ever since whenever I went to the movies, it had to be inside because she wasn't about to deal with all those bugs. So that's one way of looking at it. And then I was actually having a discussion with this with someone else. I said that could bring back a nostalgic feeling, because when's the last time people in mass went to a drive-in theater? Is something you used to see on TV, but you never saw it play out in real life. Well, unless you was around at the time. And I used to always think there was a running joke. If y'all remember that movie Twister, it was that scene where they was at that drive-in theater and the tornado came and ripped it away. They was playing The Shining, and it's like, was the joke that was them way of whisking off of the drive-in theater? Because ever since then, we never seen one since. And I was like, maybe that was the running joke for that. I don't know, but yeah. AMC is doing what they have to do. They have to protect their assets so they don't lose any more money, in hopes that everything works out for them by August. Now, I'm not going to say if it is or if it isn't, but nature's going to have to take its course. So we shall see. But y'all let me know what y'all think about this down in the comments. Like, share, subscribe. Make sure you follow me on Twitter if you haven't done so already. Have your notifications turned on, and I will talk to you in the next one.